Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Rob. How are you?
Oh, Louis, Hag Sameach. Who else with us?
I just made it in time. I've just come from my children's farm. I was
Okay,
wondering.
that's good. Baruch Hashem, that's good. Let's see who else with us. Eitan with us. Erev Tov, Eitan. Bruchim Habayim. Brian and Glenda with us. Bruchim Habayim. Who else with? Oh, Dr. Les. Erev Tov and Hag Sameach and Bruchim. Dr. Les.
Hello, Rav. How are you?
Baruch Hashem. I see Len with us. Len, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Okay, Anthony with us. Bechavod, Dr. Les, give us the update.
Okay, so first of all, Chag Sameach, Chanukah Sameach. I must be honest, Rav. Being back in Israel, we were very excited to come back. Being in Thailand, in Bangkok, for the stamp exhibition, there were a lot of Muslim countries, and it was quite amazing that I had my kippah on, obviously, all the time. And we got on very well. And a lot of people actually came up to us and to my wife and me, and they said, we're on your side. And we were at the same time when they were having the hostages release, and 20 Thai workers came back to Thailand. So it was big news. And what was quite amazing is that with the Arab delegations from Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Morocco and quite a few of the Arab countries, we actually all got on pretty well, which was quite, I was a bit nervous what it would be. From Indonesia, I'm very close with, and even from Malaysia. So it was actually quite amazing. We had our picture there in Bangkok, and it was the main postal museum and post office under the government. And we all got on actually very well. And the judge from who's born in Iraq, who's a Muslim, actually helped me tremendously, and he actually increased my award, which it's unbelievable. But Rav, I must just mention, here, I don't know, it's been breaking news here in Israel. We come back to reality. Unfortunately, they didn't release many of the still women hostages that they've kept, and they actually are abusing. And I think they're nervous to release them because they're going to expose the barbarity and the disgusting behavior that they have perpetrated. So we're waiting for them to be released, and the war continues. And unfortunately, it's so sad. Gabi Eisenkopf, his son, fell today, which is very, very sad. And I've got a lady, Sarah Goldberg. She's a Holocaust survivor that I went to see. And she sent me a message that her grandson, unfortunately, the Levy was today as well. So it's very personal. People that we know are actually falling, and unfortunately lives are being lost. But we don't know what the alternative is. So it's Chanukah, and Chanukah is the festival of miracles. So Bezrat Hashem, we'll have a tremendous nice, and we'll see the lightness that will shine. And Mamash, I just want to mention, Rav, I don't know if you're all aware what happened with Harvard and Penn and MIT, where they said genocide against Jews. Isn't that against your principles? And they actually in the Congress, and they actually said it has to be contextualized. And now they realize that what they said is so disgraceful and so abhorrent that they backtracking on their words. But it's big news here. People can't believe that the Ivy League top universities in the world, if it's genocide against Jews, it's acceptable. So we're seeing, you're seeing good and evil right in front of our eyes. It's just amazing. But there's one difference, is that we've got a lot of people that are looking and are seeing the good. They're seeing the light and not the darkness. So Bezrat Hashem, let this Chanukah usher in just light for Am Yisrael and for the whole world.
Shukran, Dr. Les. I'm going to start the show. It's beautiful. Welcome back again.
Just before you start, I just want to inform Dr. Les as well. I received a message. My wife actually got this message I cannot even go and tell everybody about it, but what they did to the woman and to little babies, and to the men, they sexually abused them, they cut off their breasts, they killed them, they raped them. How many dozen of them at a time? It's these are not people. This is animals. I don't think animals will do something like this. I've never heard of it.
Animals don't do those things.
I know.
Bezrat Hashem, but we saw miracle, and Bezrat Hashem, we'll see more miracles. The miracle that we saw today, over 1,000 terrorists surrendered themselves in the south of Gaza. I'll speak about it, Bezrat Hashem, later on. Remind me the letters Het. I'm going to join it, or Het. It's the name, it's the word Het. I'm going to put it all together, Bezrat Hashem. רבותיי, let's start the show. בעזרת השם, נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. I would like to dedicate the שיעור in the soul of אסתר קדן בת קציה, מרדכי בן רחמה, הרב חיים בן אליעזר יעקב, תמר בת זהבה, יעקב סלומון בן פרחת, דבורה רות בת בילה, שושה בלימה בת מרדכי בצלאל, מלכה רג'ינה בת ג'ויה, קטי גורג'יה בת פרחה. נשמתם תהיה צרורה בצור החיים. May their soul and all of those that die in the war, that Kadosh Baruch Hu lift up their soul up to a higher place in heaven. I would like to dedicate the shiur in health of Menashe Naji ben Pahal, Yorav ben Miriam, Rav Moshe ben Bayabatia, Harav Moshe ben Devora, Rav Shlomo Yehuda ben Dalia, Harav Abraham ben Marima, Devora bat Esther, Orna Bluman bat Miriam, Shena Kela bat Hana, Mordechai David ben Leah, Chaim Nachum ben Pesareza, Uva Kaden בת טלי אסתר, ברוך בן שרה חיינה, צבי בן חווה, שמואל בן מאיר בן שושה בלימה, משה אברהם בן חנה ריבה, חיה ציפורה בת רחל, איילה עדן בת רבקה, טובה ליבה בת רחל, שרה בת פנינה, יהושע חיים בן חיה לאה, ולאה בת רחל. רבותיי, please God, with all the פצועים, all of those that injured, all of those that need רפואה שלמה, for the Jewish people, please God, soon in our day. Parashat Vayeshev. This Shabbos we're going to read Parashat Vayeshev. And the Parasha starts like this. Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv be'eretz Kenaan. Bechavod.
Sorry, Rob. I meant one second. Oh my goodness. Here we are. Right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Jacob settled in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan.
Okay. If you look carefully at that place, Hazal tell us Yaakov settled down. Where is he settled down? And first of all, the Torah tells us he settled down. Then the Torah tells us he settled down in the land where his father, in the land of Eretz Canaan. Why twice the word land mentioned in the verse? Question number one. And the main question that we have to understand, what does it mean, Vayeshev Yaakov, and Yaakov settled down? Why does the Torah have to tell us that Yaakov settled down? Well, it doesn't tell us with no one else from the forefathers. So I'm going to bring Rashi HaKadosh, that Rashi always speak with codes. I always explain that Rashi speak with codes, and we try to understand what Rashi tried to tell us. Be'ezrat Hashem. First of all, Rashi HaKadosh, who he was. He was Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki. Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki, born in a city of Troyes in the north of France. Okay, he born 900, and if I'm not mistaken, 932 years ago. Yeah, something like that. And Rashi say something very interesting. Look what Rashi said. ביקש יעקב לישב בשלווה וקפץ עליו רוגזו של יוסף. What does it mean? Rashi tells us that Yaakov Avinu wanted to have now peace, tranquility. Okay, he wanted to rest from all the chores that he had. And we have to understand what is meant to sit in peace. So the Mefarshim explain that Yaakov in his life, from the beginning of his life, to that moment that he came back to Beersheba to settle down in Eretz Canaan. Eretz Canaan, it's the land of Eretz Israel. Didn't have a moment free. All of his life was troubled and suffering. He suffered a lot. The beginning, he had a problem with his brother when they grown up, with his brother Esav. Esav hated him. Esav, not only that he hated him, Esav wanted to kill him. So what has he done? He have to fled, and he fled to the house of who? Of Lavan. That's his uncle. There, not only that he didn't have easy time, Lavan make his life misery. He changed his salary, Hazal say, 100 times. That's how the Al-Sheikh HaKadosh, Rabbi Moshe Al-Sheikh explained, that Lavan changed his salary 100 times. That means in 22 years, okay, that he was in a house, 20 years, that he was in a house of Lavan, he drove him mad. He changed his salary 100 times. Can you believe it? So if that's not enough, then after he left Laban, he arrived in Shechem. In Shechem, you have another chorus, the chorus of Dinah. We explained it last week in the Parsha, that Dinah, lo alenu, have a trouble, that Shechem took her, and we know the rest. If that's not enough, his beloved wife, Rachel, passed away. Okay. So Hazal say, Yaakov Avinu suffered so much. He wanted now, I'm coming back to the land of Eretz Israel. I want to sit and live in peace and tranquility. And immediately come another chorus. As a matter of fact, the worst chorus that Yaakov ever suffered. What was that? That his beloved son, the oldest son of Rachel, disappeared. Disappeared from him. And that's what Rashi tried to tell us, that Ratzal Hashevet Beshalva. That means Yaakov wanted to sit in peace and tranquility. But I saw another interpretation that brought by Rabbi Yair Bachrach. Rabbi Yair Bachrach, born in the Czech Republic, he born around 385 years ago. He wrote a book, Havot Yair. He says something extraordinary. He said that here the Torah hinting to us a secret. The Torah hinting to us something very extraordinary. And he's suggesting like this. And he suggests that when the Jewish people, let me put it like this, whenever the Jewish people want to live in peace and harmony with the nation, that means that they say, not that the Jewish people have to fight with them, but they try to adopt the Goyim way of life, try to act like the Goyim, try to be part of the Goyim hate us. That means that amplifying the anger and the hatred towards the Jewish people. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, actually, with his mercy and compassion, make a what do you call it? A chesed with us. Mamash chesed. Why? He said, by that the Goyim start to hate us, okay? They actually push us aside. They push us aside completely. What it means, push us aside? That or they start to fighting with us, okay? Or they actually not only starting to fighting with us, they're trying to kill us. And that's the mercy and compassion. He said, because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't imply the anger on us, the Jewish people will be vanished. The Jewish people will disappear. Why? Because after a while, we're going to get married and we're going to have a lot of intermarriage and the Jewish religion going to disappear. He said by that HaKadosh Baruch Hu see when the Jewish people suddenly have time to sit and they want to relax, to join other nation, to become part of other nation, okay? To adopt their custom, to go to their parties. Come to tell you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hate us. He doesn't want it. He hate that behavior. Sorry, I say hate us, I say he hate that behavior. Come to teach us something very important, say the Rabbi Bacher. It's to teach us something very important, that whenever the Jewish people trying to be part of other nation, immediately HaKadosh Baruch Hu amplifying the anger that they're not going to allow us to get connect with them. That's the Hidush. What it means, רצה לשבת בשקט, that the Torah hinting to us that the Jewish people have nothing to do with other religion. We Jewish, we must look after our religion, leave other nation alone. We mustn't try to be part of them. You are Jewish, you stay Jewish. That's what he tried to tell us. The second question that we say, be'eretz Megure Aviv, Be'eretz Canaan. The word Eretz mentioned twice. We have to understand why twice. I saw a beautiful commentary that brought by the Mahar. The Mahar is Rabbi Chaim Vital. Rabbi Chaim Vital, born in a city of Tzfat 481 years ago. And he explained, you know why it's mentioned the word Eretz twice? Dafka Eretz, because he said that's what Yaakov Avinu was worried when he came to the land of Eretz Israel. Yaakov Avinu was worried because two things that he couldn't fulfill that regarding to the land of Eretz Israel. Say that the Mahar, that Yaakov Avinu was worried from two things. The first thing, that he didn't live in Eretz Israel. And we know that the person that live in Eretz Israel has a mitzvah. Yaakov Avinu didn't have that merit. Not only that, said the Mahar, Yaakov Avinu didn't live in Eretz Israel with his father. He didn't merit for those 22 years that he was without him to honor him. He didn't have the mitzvah of Kibud Avaim. And that's what he was worried. To tell you that Yaakov Avinu, although that he was a righteous man, although that he was a tzaddik, Yaakov Avinu was worried that these two merits going to be a problem for him. And that's what it's mentioned, the word Eretz twice. Let's move on to verse 3. And in verse 3, it tells us something very interesting. וישראל אהב את יוסף מכל בניו, כי בן זקונים הוא לו, ועשה לו כתונת פסים.
Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his sons, since he was a child of his old age, and he made him a fine woolen tunic.
Well, fine woolen tunic, it's called the stripes. You know, the garment with the stripes. But let's explain, first of all, one thing in the thing that it's in the verse. The first thing that we have to understand, it said that Yaakov loved Yosef ki ben zikunim olo. Ben zikunim, it's the lameki, okay? What it means, lameki, we have to understand. Second thing, what does it mean, striped garment? What does it mean? What the word ketonet pasim mean? So Be'ezrat Hashem, I'm going to bring 4 different ideas. But the first thing that we have to say that Yaakov it said that Yaakov Avinu Israel loved Yosef michol banav. He loved Yosef HaTzadik more than any other one of his kids. Why? Because he was a Lameki. What kind of an answer is this Lameki? What does it come to tell us? Can it be that Yaakov Avinu going to love Yosef more than any other one of his sons? זה לא כל כך פשוט. It's not so simple. The main reason that Yaakov Avinu loved Yosef, we have to understand what's hiding behind it and what the word love means. So to understand that, we have a commentary of Onkelos. Who was Onkelos? Onkelos was a convert. He was the student of Rabbi Akiva that lived during the time of the second destruction of the temple, just before. And he was the nephew of Titus, the wicked Titus that destroyed Bet HaMikdash. And when he converted, he wrote commentary on the written Torah and an oral Torah. And in this verse, in his commentary on the written Torah, listen what he said. Ben zikunim hulo, bar hakim hule. In Aramaic, he say, bar is a son, hakim, smart, is a smart son to Yaakov Avinu. And that's it. There's no more explanation. Kam Rashi HaKadosh. Okay, and he explained by codes that, a matter of fact, what Onkelos tried to tell us, that Yaakov Avinu, all the Torah that he learned for 14 years in the house of Shem Va'ever, in the yeshiva of Shem Va'ever, he passed it to Yosef HaTzadik. Until here, that's what Rashi HaKadosh said. But what it means, all the Torah? To understand that came the Ramban. The Ramban is Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman. Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, born in the city of Catalonia in Spain 429 years ago. In his commentary on the Torah, he says something extraordinary. He said that Yaakov Avinu taught Yosef HaTzadik all the secret of the Torah. That's mean the mystical part behind the Torah. What does it mean? He taught them Kabbalah. That means that he teach them all the secret of the Torah. Come the Mefarshim and say, wait a minute. But it said, Ben zikunim hulo. You told me that he's the youngster. How can you teach Kabbalah to a youngster? A person that want to learn Kabbalah, there is certain categories before we learn. Number one, you have to be over the age of 40. Number two, you have to be a married person. And we know that Yosef was 17, in the age of 17. Number two, he wasn't married. So how did Yaakov Avinu taught Yosef HaTzadik all the secret of the Torah? Said the Rambam, that's why Onkelos Ager said, Ben Hakim hulo. That means he's a wise son to him. What does it mean, a wise son? That Yaakov Avinu, when he saw that his son Yosef is not only wise, he's also mature enough that he can pass to him all the secret of the Torah. He can teach him now Kabbalah. And that's what it means, ki ben zekunim hulo. And then we say that we're going to talk about what it says in the verse, ve'asa lo ketonet pasim. And he made for him a garment with a special stripe. What is that garment that the brothers were so jealous of Yosef that they hated him for it, that they hate Yosef for it? So Chazal in the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat in page 10, folio 2. Listen what he explained. He explained that that garment that Yaakov Avinu made for or given Yosef was a garment with a long sleeve. What's the hidush here that there is a long sleeve? There's a short sleeve shirt, there's a long sleeve shirt. What's the difference? Say the Mefarshim and the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat like this. He said that when you see a person, and in their time, that the person that used to wear a long sleeve shirt come to tell you that he was an honored man, that he never used to work with his hand. That means a person that have a long sleeve to show that he never used his hand to work physically with that. That's Hazal in the Gemara. That's how they interpreted the word ketonet pasim. I saw another interpretation that Hazal said that you know why they call it ketonet pasim? Yaakov Avinu make a special garment to Yosef HaTzadik, said the Midrash Hiskun. In the Midrash Hiskun, it's a Midrash that's written by Rabbi Hiskiah ben Menachem. Rabbi Hiskiah ben Menachem, born in France, in the north of France, he born around 773 years ago, plus minus, okay? If I'm not mistaken. And he said, if you take the word ketonet pasim, pasim, it's in Hebrew, the word to him is piyus. That means that here Yaakov Avinu saw that the brothers hate Yosef HaTzadik. What is he trying to do? He make them a special garment to pacify him. Okay? For the anger of the brother. That means he tried to tell Yosef that although that the brothers hate you, he tried to pacify, and he made for them that garment. The third explanation that I'm going to bring, it's the interpretation of Rabbi Avraham Ibn Ezra. Rabbi Avraham Ibn Ezra, born in the city of Toledo. Toledo, it's a city in Spain. He born around 934 years ago, plus minus. And he said, you know why the Torah tells us ketonet pasim? Because that garment that Yaakov Avinu made for Yosef HaTzadik, it was embroidered garment. That means he hand embroidered especially for Yosef HaTzadik. Okay? Why did he do it? Again, because the brothers hate him. I know, and I'm going to bring now the fourth interpretation, and listen what it says. The mystical rabbi said that Yaakov Avinu, when he given Yosef HaTzadik that clothes that called ketonet pasim, it's a ketonet, listen to that, that it was the clothes of Adam HaRishon. The clothes of Adam HaRishon. On Shabbos, Be'ezrat Hashem and Shiur, I will explain what's the connection. If you look, the brothers took off the clothes of Yosef. Okay, that means they changed his clothes. When Yosef was in the house of Potiphar, Vayazor Bigdo Beyada, Yosef, when the wife of Potiphar, Zulika, when she tried to seduce Yosef HaTzadik to immorality, he left his clothes in a hand. Again, changing clothes. Yehuda, the brother that we're going to speak shortly about, it said that Tamar changed her clothes. But Tamar begadea. What's the secret about the clothes? Be'ezrat Hashem, I will explain on Shabbat. But the brothers was jealous of Yosef HaTzadik. Why they was jealous? Because he given him the clothes of Adam HaRishon. What was the clothes of Adam HaRishon? The brothers say the clothes of Adam HaRishon was a righteous man. Yosef is not a righteous man. How can he wear such a holy clothes? Why is he pretending that he's so holy? That's why they was jealous of him. And now we can understand what does it mean, ketonet pasim. Let's move on to verse 4. And here we see something very interesting in a verse. And I want to explain it because many people doesn't understand what's happening. And I would like to tackle that verse for us to understand. And look what it says. ויראו אחיו כי אותו אהב אביהם מכל אחיו, וישנאו אותו, ולא יכלו דברו לשלום.
His brothers saw that it was he whom their father loved most of all, his brother, who loved most of all his brothers. I think it means to say most of all above his brothers. So they hated him, and they would not speak to him peaceably.
Okay, so here we have to understand why did they hate him, and then why they couldn't speak to him and greet him. What made the brothers to become so angry with Yosef that they hate him? Okay? And that's what we have to understand. Chazal explained like this, that there is here a secret. Why the brothers hated Yosef, first of all. Chazal explained that the brothers hated Yosef because Yosef gone and told the father, according to the pshat of the Dvarim, that the brothers doesn't treat the brother doesn't treat the others. Sorry, there's some noise. Let me just mute it at the back. I want to mute everything. Yeah, so there's no more noise. The brother told Yosef told the brothers that the brother doesn't treat the children of Bilhah and Zilpah very well. Doesn't honor them. That's on a pshat of the Dvarim. In a deeper meaning, the Mefarshim explain that Yosef HaTzadik, gone to Yaakov Avinu and told him, listen, the brother eating a limb from a living animal. But Yosef HaTzadik didn't understand that Yaakov Avinu taught his brother Sefer Yetzirah. Sefer Yetzirah, it's a book of the creation. That's the name. It's a Kabbalistic book. A book that's called Sefer Yetzirah. What it means, Sefer Yetzirah? First of all, who wrote it? Sefer Yetzirah, it's a book that's been written by Avraham Avinu. It's a Kabbalistic book. It's a very mystical book with the name of angel, that there they explain the name of the angel, and when you mention their name, what are they in charge and how you create things. The brothers that used to be shepherds, that they used to share and they used to take the flock of Yaakov Avinu, they didn't, it was time that there wasn't near the house for weeks. So they needed to eat something. But they didn't want to eat from the flock of Yaakov Avinu. So they used to create animal, okay, b'shemot HaKodesh, that they used to create animals and they used to eat it with the holy name. If you create an animal with Shemot HaKodesh, there is no problem to eat a limb from a living animal. Why? You're going to ask, what's the difference? Because it's not an animal that's been born. It's an animal that's been created. It's like lahavdil. You remember the story of the Maharal Miprag. The Maharal Miprag created a golem. A golem is a human being. He can breathe, he can see, he can walk, he can do. One thing he can't do. One thing he cannot do, speak. He doesn't have this kind of neshama, this kind of soul to help him to talk. That's only HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what they created. And they said, we don't want to short the flock of our father. We will create with Sefer Yetzirah, the way that our father taught us, we create an animal, and that's how we're going to eat. Yosef HaTzadik didn't know that their father taught them Sefer Yetzirah. how to create animal. Therefore, he was thinking that they actually make innocent, and he told their father. And when the father spoke to them, they explained to him that it was not from a living animal. Although that it was a living animal, but it's not the animal that born. And Yaakov Avinu understand. So they thought that he's speaking Lashon Hara about him. And that's why they hated him. But then the Torah tells us, Velo yachlu dabero l'shalom. They couldn't even speak to him or greet him. Why is it? So the Mefarshim explains something extraordinary. From here, you can see the merits of the brother. Why? That they wasn't double faces. They hated Yosef. They didn't pretend that they love him. That means that the merit of the brother was that what they thought, that's what they showed. They didn't pretend that they love him, but in the heart they hated him. They didn't live double standard. That means that the brothers show Yosef exactly what they think about it. And I saw a beautiful interpretation of the Hatam Sofer, Rabbi Moshe Sofer. Rabbi Moshe Sofer, born in a city of Frankfurt in Germany, he born around 260 years ago. And he wrote a book, Torah Moshe, the Torah of Moshe. I explained these two books, the two commentary, two different rabbis that wrote the book Torah Moshe. One of them is Rabbi Moshe Al-Sheikh, okay? That's Al-Sheikh HaKadosh and Hatam Sofer. And they both, funny enough, commentary on a Torah. And say the Hatam Sofer like this. Hatam Sofer say in a Gemara in Masechet Ksahim, in page 113, folio 1. Hazal say like this. הרואה בחברו דבר עבירה, מצווה עליו לשונאו. I'll explain. Say the Gemara in Masechet Pesachim 113, folio 1. A person that sees in his fellow friend that he's doing something wrong, and he told him that he's doing something wrong, and also he continued to do it, okay, he's doing it now, b'mezid, okay, it's a mitzvah to hate him. The brother said, we told Yosef that he's talking Lashon Hara. He doesn't want to listen to us. And he's still pretending when he's with us, he come and he speak nicely to us. And he say, greet us, and how are you? But when he's with our father, he have double standard. He tittle on us. He speak Lashon Hara on us. How can it be? Said the brother, in that case, if he's double standard, if we have a double standard, then not only that we hate him, we don't want to talk to him. And now we can understand what caused the brother, number one, to hate Yosef. Number two, why they couldn't greet him, why they couldn't speak to him. Because the brother say, when Yosef is with us, he greet us, he's very nice. At the moment that he leave us and he go to our father, he speak Lashon Hara on us. No, doesn't this kind of a behavior we can't accept. We're not going to accept that behavior. Therefore, not only that we hate him that he spoke Lashon Hara on us, now he's double faces. No, we don't want to even talk to him. Now we can understand the two reasons why the brother hates Yosef, why they couldn't speak to him and greet him. Now we understand that. Why does the Torah tell us? Let's go to chapter 38, verse 1. And here we see something very extraordinary, and I want to share it with you. 38:1, I'm going there and here. And here we see a very strange story. The story is about Yehuda. The Torah speak about Yosef HaTzadik. Start with Yosef HaTzadik. In the middle, it's going to Yehuda, and then it's going back to Yosef. What's happening here? Why did the Torah stop the story of Yosef and tell us about Yehuda? But let's read what it says here. ויהי בעת ההיא, וירד יהודה מאת אחיו, ויט עד איש אדולמי, ושמו חירה.
It was at that time that Judah went down from his brothers and turned away toward an Adulamite, a Adulamite man whose name was Hira.
Yeah, very interesting. What it mean brought down from his brother? What is the story? Rashi HaKadosh asked that question, why is that story of Yehuda came in the middle? So the Mefarshim explained like that. The Mefarshim explained that Yehuda was like a king to his brother. He was in charge about it. And whatever Yehuda used to tell them, they used to listen to him. And we saw that when Yehuda told them to sell Yosef HaTzadik, they listened to him. But when the brothers saw how much pain and agony and sorrow caused to Yaakov Avinu when Yosef disappeared from him, because Yaakov thought that he been killed, Yosef HaTzadik been killed, they said to Yehuda, you know what, Yehuda, we made you a king on us. You was in charge about us. And if you told us not to sell Yosef, we wouldn't. We would listen to you. But because of you, look how much our father's suffering. We don't want you to be in charge about us anymore. Leave us. What happened? Yehuda got upset and gone to a place that's called Adulam. There he met a man. And he took his daughter that was a Canaanite. And he married a Canaanite. Before that, his wife died. He married a Canaanite woman. He had two sons, Er and Onan, that was wicked kids. HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed them. And then not only that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed his wife. And what happened? He's the daughter-in-law, that her name is Tamar. Who was Tamar? The Mefarshim explained Tamar was the daughter of Shem, the son of Noah. Look how many years she lived. What happened? Tamar, after she married Er, and Er died, and she became a widow, but she didn't have kids. Then it was Onan. Onan also was a wicked, and he died. Say Yehuda, no, she mustn't marry. She have a din of Isha Katlanit. She have a law of a killing woman. A woman that basically have a curse on her that she killed men. But it's not true. Then the Torah tells us that she changed her clothes. And Yehuda didn't recognize her and he married her. And after 3 months, they found that Tamar is pregnant, they told Yehuda. Yehuda passed the punishment of death on her. And when they brought him to Yehuda, she given Yehuda the belonging that she asked him before he'd been with her. And when Yehuda saw those belongings, you have two options: to admit it, or to say, listen, I'm ignoring it. I don't know what you're talking about. But Yehuda say, she's right. I'm wrong. I was wrong here. She's right. Say the Mefarshim, here you see the first way what's happened to Yehuda. The way down was when Yehuda didn't want to admit what he done wrong with his brother Yosef. That's brought him down where? Gone down until he reached the bottom line. What was the bottom line? It was, number one, the deterioration of Yehuda. that this brother didn't want him. After that, not only that, something else happened, said the Mahalpo, Rabbi Chaim Vital, that he took a Canaanite woman. Canaanite woman brought him two wicked kids that HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed them and killed his wife. When the things start changing, said the Mahalpo, and the moment that Yehuda said, Vehitzat Kamimen, she's right, I'm wrong. What do you mean she's right, I'm wrong? Said the Mefarshim something extraordinary. He said, in the moment that Yehuda admitted that he's wrong, and he took on himself, okay, that what he done is wrong, that was the rectification to his sin. What does it come to teach us? Said the Mefarshim something extraordinary. That's in the moment that the person say, when he realized that he's wrong and doesn't try to deny, doesn't try to wash it, okay? He's a man enough to say that he's wrong. The brothers brought him back on him, to be in charge on him. Why? Because Yaakov Avinu realized that the person that can admit that he done something wrong, he's a man that can be a king. And Nachon, from him, become David HaMelech. David HaMelech was from the descendants of Yehuda, you know. That's what Hazal tried to tell us, said the Mahal. The Torah tried to tell us the story of Yehuda in the middle of the story of Yosef, that to teach us something very important. To teach us, number one, that when a person do wrong, there's only one way down. But אין דבר העומד בפני a person that Hazal come to teach us here, that אין דבר העומד בפני התשובה. That means if you do tshuva, that's the Has Atonement. That the person that do tshuva, okay, HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgive all of his sins. And that was why the Torah put the story of Yehuda in the middle of what? In the middle of the story of Yosef. Let's continue and go to chapter 30. Whoa, the time is running. Wow. Let's go to chapter 39, verse 3. I want to do at least another 2 tonight. And let's see what it says here. Here I'm going to speak about Yosef HaTzadik and his master, Potiphar. When Yosef HaTzadik was a slave in a house of Potiphar. I just want to do a quick introduction. What does it mean a slave? In the Torah, meaning of slave, it's a person that doesn't have any rights. No rights. Whatever the master tell him, he had to do. There is no question. There is no debate. I told you, you do. You have no rights whatsoever. Let's see what the Torah tells us. וירא אדוניו כי אדוני איתו, וכל אשר ועושה אדוני מצליח בידו.
His master perceived that Hashem was with him. And whatever he did, Hashem made, it says, made succeed in his hand.
Okay.
But
I will
it doesn't
explain.
make English sense.
No, I will explain. It does make sense. I will explain. Rabotai, I'm going to bring now the Zera Shimshon, Rabbi Shimshon Chaim Nachmani, born in the city of Modena, in the north of Italy, 318 years ago. In his book, Zera Shimshon, we'll see what he asked. But first, I'm going to do the introduction. Here, the Torah tells us something very extraordinary, that Yosef was a slave in the house of Potiphar. Who was Potiphar? Hazal tell us, Tarat Tabahim. What it means, the minister of butcher. He was in charge. Who's gonna be, when they pass in the law to kill him, he used to be in charge. He used to kill. He used to be the executor, let's call him. He was in charge about executing. That means that Potiphar didn't have a lot of feeling. Number one, we have to understand. Potiphar didn't have any sentiment to anyone. And here comes a young child in the age of 17, not a child, a little man, a young man in the age of 17 to his house. And you see that something, since the day that that young man walked into his house, everything gets blessed. Potiphar wasn't stupid. Potiphar decided, I'm going to test that young man. Hazal explained, listen to that, what the Mefarshim explained. Hazal used to ask Yosef, bring me a cup of tea. Yosef used to go and bring him a cup of tea. He said, and I said to you, a cup of tea, that it's hot. Yosef said to him, taste it, it's hot. He said, no, I meant cold. He said, taste it, it's cold. Potiphar used to taste and he used to see that it's cold. Unbelievable. Potiphar used to say to Yosef, bring me a drink. Yosef used to bring him a cold drink, a cold water. Potiphar said, I wanted hot water. Yosef used to say to him, taste it. Look, what you have in your hand is hot. And the same was the opposite. He used to say to Yosef, I didn't ask you for something hot, I asked you for something cold. He said, taste what you have in your hand, and you see that it's cold. Hazal said that when Potiphar saw that, he saw that the Almighty is giving a brocha to Yosef. Whatever he touched, whatever he do with his hand is a blessing. That means that if I tell Yosef Tzaddik to fix up the chair will never break anymore. I tell Yosef Tzaddik to tie the screw will never come loose anymore. So Potiphar saw that whatever Yosef Tzaddik do with his hand, the Almighty with him. He have a blessing, a brocha. Until here, the story about Potiphar. By the way, Potiphar said that he became full of prosperity. He didn't take it to himself, he blamed it on Yosef. That means all the prosperity that he had, it's since Yosef Tzaddik came to his house. By the way, it's happened also with Lavan, with Yaakov Avinu. When Yaakov Avinu gone to the house of Lavan, in Parashat Vayeshev, in chapter 30, verse 27, what is Lavan saying to Yosef Tzaddik? He said like this, Nihashti, Vayivarcheni Hashem biglalcha. Lavan said, I guess that all my prosperity, all what I have, suddenly it's because of you. Hazal say, Lavan never had kids. When Yaakov Avinu came to the house of Lavan, suddenly he had kids. We know that one of them was Bil'am HaRasha. Not only that, Lavan wasn't rich. Since Yaakov came to him, the flock multiply every month. So Lavan became rich. What's the connection between them? Hazal say, if you look at verse 5, Jeffrey, I want you to read it. ויהי מאז והפקיד אותו בביתו על כל אשר יש לו, ויברך אדוני את בית המצרי בגלל יוסיף, ויהי ברכת אדוני בכל אשר לו, בבית ובשדה. verse 6, ויעזוב כל אשר לו ביד יוסף, ולא ידע איתו מאומה, כי אם הלחם אשר הוא אוכל, ויהי יוסף יפה תואר ויפה מראה. Jeffrey, I want you to read for us, please, verse 5 and verse 6, so I can explain.
Right. And it happened that from the time he appointed him in his house, And over whatever he had, Hashem blessed the Egyptian's house on Joseph's account, so that Hashem's blessing was in whatever he owned, in the house and in the field. He left all that he had in Joseph's custody, and with him present, he concerned himself with nothing except for the bread that he would eat. Now, Joseph was handsome of form and handsome of appearance.
Okay, what's happening here? Potiphar realized that the blessing that he had, it's because of Yosef. What has he done? He said to Yosef, from now on, I tested you, I realized that Kadosh Baruch Hu with you, I'm leaving everything that belonged to me, you in charge about. I don't want to know nothing what's happening in my house. You in charge about my house. Everything that's happening, I leave it to you. The key to the safe, the key to whatever. You want to go and buy everything, you know where's the safe, you know where's the money, I leave it with you. The same happened with Lavan. That since Yaakov gone to him, he also realized that the blessing is because of Yaakov. What has he done? He left everything in the hand of Yaakov, all the animal. Until here, we understand. It is a very interesting story. Rabbi, listen to it in a Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin in page 39, folio 2. I saw it last night. There's a story about the king Ahab. Ahab was a wicked king that worshipped idol. He was a Jewish king that worshipped idol. He married Izebel. Izebel was a daughter of the king of Sidon, okay, that converted. But as a matter of fact, she never converted. She still was idol worshiper. And in the end, she made Ahab worship idols. Okay. Ahab had a place, a person that used to take care about his house. The same like Yosef. The only difference that his name was Obadiah, the prophet Obadiah. And one day Ahab done a stock taking and he said to Ahab, you pretend that you're a righteous man, but you're not a righteous man. Ahab said to him, why do you say that? I am a righteous man. He said, you're not a righteous man. He said, why? He said, I'll tell you why. He said, when Yosef HaTzadik gone to the house of Potiphar, the house of Potiphar was blessed. When Yaakov Avinu gone to the house of Lavan, the house of Lavan got blessed. He said, yes. He said, I done a stock taking. I see that I lost a lot of money. And you're not a tzaddik. Why not a tzaddik? Because if you was a tzaddik, I would be blessed the same like Yaakov Avinu blessed the house of Potiphar. The same Yaakov Avinu blessed the house of Lavan. I would be blessed. But because my house is not blessed, that means that you are not a righteous man. Come Hazal in a Gemara and ask a question. I don't understand. The Torah tells us that Obadiah was a righteous man. Yerei Elokim. He had the fear of heaven. Why the house of Ahab never got blessed? The same like what happened with Laban and with Potiphar. Come the Zerah Shimshon. Now here come the answer. And said the Zerah Shimshon, I'll explain to you why not. He said the difference is, when Yosef HaTzadik gone to the house of Potiphar, Potiphar left everything in his hand. He trusted him fully. When Yaakov Avinu gone to the house of Lavan given him all the flock. He trusted him fully. But when Obadiah gone to the house of Ahab, it was the house of the king. When you sit in the house of the king, inevitably, he can't give you everything. Said the Zerah Shimshon, in a moment that you couldn't trust the tzaddik completely, you're not going to get the prosperity of the tzaddik. HaKadosh Baruch Hu not going to bring a prosperity on you. Potiphar, when Yosef gone there, he left everything in his hand. He trusted them fully. When he trusted them fully, the prosperity of Yosef HaTzadik also happened to the house of Potiphar. The same with Laban. When Laban given all the flock to Yaakov Avinu to take care of it, he left it in his hand. You left it in his hand, now the prosperity going to come. Said the Zerah Shimshon, but with Ahab was a different situation. Ahab, although that he was Jewish, okay, and he worshipped idols, but he still was a Jewish after all. But because Ahab didn't trust Obadiah Hanavi completely, 100%, therefore the blessing and the prosperity that should come through him is like a channel, like a pipe to bring the brocha to his house, couldn't go. Why? Because Ahab interfered in the middle. And that's what blocked the prosperity, said the Zerah Shimshon. It's come to teach us something very important, Rabotai, and with that I want to conclude. I wanted to do another part, but the time is exactly an hour. I'm going to steal another 1 or 2 minutes. What is the message that we're learning here? That we have to understand that when people go to a tzaddik, if they trust the tzaddik, that it's a righteous man, and whatever he tells them, they do it with full emunah, and they don't have a debate, maybe it's right, maybe it's not right, maybe I should do it, maybe I should don't do it. When the tzaddik bless you, that prosperity will come to you. Especially say you to each one of you, that when the tzaddik bless each one of you and you trust him, you're going to see a miracle. But in a moment that you have a doubt, maybe he's right, maybe he's not, that means that you're putting yourself between the tzaddik and the Almighty. So what are you doing? You're cutting the connection. You're cutting the connection. That means the direct line that the tzaddik had with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he wanted to bless you, you basically put yourself in the middle. So there is no more connection. You stop the connection. Rabotai, from here we'll have to understand that the job of the tzaddikim in this world is to protect us, to bring prosperity to the world, to bring peace. But also when they bless us, if we go with full emunah, then we can see miracles. But if we're trying to interfere and we're trying to put ourselves in the middle and try to say yay or nay, or try to think, that means that the emunah of yours is a question mark. That means that you put a block. The connection not going directly. You blocked it. You blocked the connection between the tzaddik and the prosperity to come down. So what does it teach us? That we have to have simple emunah. People should believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, go to tzaddik to get a blessing. Again, I'm saying, if you go to a tzaddik and he asks for money, run away. Don't go to him. Because a tzaddik should not ask for money for himself. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Ma ani bechinam, af ata bechinam. I'm doing everything for free, you also should do for free. And that's the key. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should have emunat chachamim and the fear of heaven, and we live with full emunah in chachamim that give us the fear of heaven of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Be'ezrat Hashem, will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily and our day, Amen Ken Yeh Ratzon. I promise I'm going to speak about the latest Het. Rabotai, I spoke to it this evening quickly in Mishnah Sheor that I give straight after Mariv. If you look, what is the name of the war that we have at the moment in Israel? It's called Haravot Barzel, iron sword. But it starts with the letters Haravot, Het. Who are we fighting against? Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthim, okay? The Khomeinim, all with het. All with het. Okay? Who are the ones that fighting against them? Hayalim, soldier, het. What is the connection? Rabotai, today, over 1,000 special forces from the Hamas soldiers surrendered themselves. That's the beginning of the miracle of Hanukkah. The het, the letters het, stand for hesed, kindness, mercy, compassion. Akadosh Baruch Hu tried to tell us that in this word that called Haravot Barzel, you'll have more mercy and compassion and kindness that you ever think. And those that are going to go against you, they're also going to start with hate. But they ain't going to be down. And you're going to win it. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should see miracle speedily in our days. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu will light the light of Hanukkah, that light will spread all over the world. And everyone will understand Hashem hu echad, ve'en od milevado. The Almighty is one, and there is no other God except Him. And all of those what people scream and all the time say that in the name of Allah, in the name of that, and I don't know which God they're referring to. Definitely not to the Almighty. Because if they're referring to the Almighty, they wouldn't behave like they behave, because that's against all the Torah. Because in the Torah, I tell you not to commit immorality, not to rape, not to have sexual relationship with a man, okay? Not to harm people, not to kill, not to murder. And they broke all the laws. So I don't know in which name or which what they're naming the war. Definitely not in the name of our God. That's for sure. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to show us His mercy and compassion. And He spread the light and the miracle like happened to the Maccabim in daytime, Ezrat Hashem, that we should see it speedily in our days. And in our own eyes, we'll see the Mashiach coming and building Bet HaMikdash. Amen, Ken Yeh Ratzon. Rabotai, I know that I stole 5 minutes or 6 minutes over time. You'll excuse me, but I wanted to share with you the idea of the het. But now, I'm going to give time for those of you that want to ask question about the Torah, about the Parashat Shavua. Bechavod. Those of you that have question on the Torah, Parashat Shavua, bechavod.
How are you? That's Anthony. How are you?
Anthony, Chag Sameach, how are you? Chag Sameach, Anthony.
How are you?
Baruch Hashem, and you?
All fine, thanks. These coats, the coats of many colors that Jacob gave Joseph, the coats of many, why Dafka coats of many colors? What's the significance of the coat?
What are you talking about? The coat that you given yourself?
Yes.
So we spoke about it. Sorry? Hello?
Hello?
Anthony? You're talking about the garment that Yaakov Avinu given Yosef at Tzaddik.
Yes.
So I explain what's so special about it. We explained that one of them, that it was to show that Yosef was a very honored man, was a long sleeve. The other opinion that we brought, what the mystical rabbis say, it was the clothes of Adam Arishon. That means that he was a tzaddik. And the brother didn't agree with it, that he's not a tzaddik. You understand what I'm saying? Another interpretation that
I wasn't here for that.
It was a special garment that been embroidered by hand. That means that garment that Yaakov Avinu given Yosef, it was embroidered garment. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And another interpretation that we brought, it was to pacify him why the brother hates him. And so he make him a special kitonet pasim, because pasim mishon pius. בסדר?
Thanks very much.
Okay. Okay. Any other question?
Good evening, Rav.
Erev Tov, Jeffrey. Chag Sameach. How are you?
Chag Sameach to you. Thank God. Baruch Hashem. There's a very important point you made here. Why Yehuda was brought into the story of Yehuda was brought into the Torah at the stage.
One in the middle of the story of Yosef HaTzadik. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so what you mentioned and what you said to me makes so much sense, because the whole point is you've got to admit. When he start, as soon as he started admitted to selling Yosef and admitting that with Tamar that he did wrong and he wasn't right and what have you, his esteem came up with everybody. But the fact that he admitted it, that was the lesson that for Teshuvah, that's when we do on Yom Kippur, that we have to admit first, is this where it comes from? Is this where it shows that?
Yeah, because it says, Ata yuducha achecha. What does it mean, Ata yuducha achecha? You was shy to admit what you done, that you now the husband of your daughter-in-law. There's no problem with that. Not that he done any sin. He didn't done any sin, because in daytime he can marry his daughter-in-law. The opposite, it's a mitzvah for him, because there was no one to marry him except the little one.
Yeah.
The little one, but he was too young.
Yeah.
By that he married him, he brought the soul of the kids. And that's what they call yibum. Yibum. Today we don't do yibum. But the nekuda here, the point here, is that in a moment to teach us that when a person done wrong, nothing wrong with that to admit that you're wrong. It's worse when you try to cover for your mistake. That's what the Torah tried to tell us.
Right.
A man that admits his mistake, he can be a king.
Right.
He can be a leader.
The other point was with Potiphar. When he turned around and so Yosef, and he could see that everything that was touched in his home and everything was blessed. And Hashem has done this and Hashem has done that. Now, surely, did Potiphar believe in Hashem? Potiphar was the idol worshiper. Was it him, or was it Yosef's influence that Yosef kept talking about Hashem? I don't know. It's not clear.
So you have to understand that people, sometimes you show people the truth, but they don't want to admit it. He saw that the Almighty blessed him. Which Almighty is, for him, it was a different God. It wasn't our God, the Almighty, the Creator. Because they was idol worshippers, the Egyptian. They was pagan. So it depends on which one you're putting it.
He's talking from Yosef's point of view, or
from Yosef's point of view, it's the Almighty.
Yeah.
From Yosef, it's the Almighty.
Yeah.
From his point of view.
But it's fascinating. It's left up to one to make that to make that understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other question, Rabotai? No. Okay, Rabotai, I would like to take the opportunity to wish all of you, first of all, Hag Urim Sameach, a festival of light, a happy festival of light. Hag Urim Sameach. May please God that will benefit from the light of the menorah. Chazal tell us that when you look at the menorah, that light of the menorah can bring you the Or HaGanuz. You can benefit from the hidden light, number one. But more important, that we should have Hag Urim Sameach, Shabbat Shalom to all of you, that you'll have a beautiful Shabbos, and the most important, a peaceful Shabbos to us here in South Africa, to our brothers, to our families in Eretz Israel and all over the world. And especially that light that HaKadosh Baruch Hu just showed us a little bit today, that will spread all over the world, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will protect every soldier, every member of the security of the Israeli Defense Force, the police, all the security that there is, the secret agent, each one of them, those that volunteering, okay, those that working wherever they are in Israel, outside the line of Israel, the Kadosh Baruch Hu will protect all the Jews wherever they are. Not only that, protect them, that He will bring the light to the world to understand that He's the Creator, He's the Almighty, He's in charge, and send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day. Amen. So, wish you all, first of all, thank you. I want to thank you personally to each one of you that join us, and Shabbat Shalom v'Hag Hanukkah Sameach to all of you, that we should see only miracle. Amen. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rav.
Have a good night, everyone. Good night.